Drake didn't just drop an album on May 15th, he dropped a nuclear event. While fans were waiting for one project called Iceman, Drake suddenly released three separate albums at the exact same time: Iceman, Maid of Honour, and Habibti. 43 songs. Almost instantly, social media exploded into complete chaos. People weren't even talking about the music first. They were talking about the names hidden inside the lyrics. Within minutes, fans were convinced Drake had fired shots at Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, Kendrick Lamar, LeBron James, and several other celebrities across the industry. Some listeners called it legendary, others said it sounded bitter, obsessive, and borderline desperate. But one thing became clear immediately: Drake wanted everybody paying attention again. And honestly, it worked. Because this wasn't just an album release. It felt like Drake unloading years of frustration in public, and the deeper fans dug into these lyrics, the uglier the story started becoming. The craziest part is that nobody even saw this coming. For weeks, Drake had been teasing Iceman through cryptic live streams, strange Instagram posts, and bizarre promotional stunts around Toronto. Giant ice sculptures appeared in random locations. Fans thought it was all leading to one big comeback album after the damage from the Kendrick Lamar feud. But nobody expected three entire albums to suddenly appear overnight. 43 tracks is insane even by Drake standards. Most artists struggle to keep attention for one album. Drake flooded streaming platforms with enough material to dominate conversations for weeks. And that may have been the entire point. The internet immediately split into two sides. One side called it genius marketing, the other accused Drake of panic-dropping music to drown out criticism after the Kendrick Lamar battle, basically changed public perception of him forever. Because before all this, Drake looked untouchable for almost 15 years. He survived rap beefs, scandals, memes, accusations, and endless internet hate while staying on top. But Kendrick Lamar changed something. For the first time in Drake's career, people openly questioned whether his era was finally ending. And now, suddenly Drake comes back with 43 songs filled with paranoia, loyalty issues, betrayal themes, and personal disses aimed at people he once seemed close to. That timing didn't feel accidental to fans at all. But things got even messier once listeners reached the Rihanna bars. The Rihanna situation immediately became one of the biggest talking points online because fans have followed that storyline for over a decade now. Rihanna and Drake were always surrounded by rumors, awkward moments, and unresolved tension. Even after Rihanna moved on publicly with A$AP Rocky and started building a family, fans noticed Drake kept indirectly referencing the situation in interviews and music. Now, people believe he's doing it again. Several lyrics across the albums appeared to mock Rocky while also throwing subtle shade towards Rihanna's relationship. Fans immediately started posting theories online, saying Drake still hasn't emotionally moved on, even years later. And honestly, some listeners found the lyrics uncomfortable rather than entertaining. One line in particular sparked massive reactions because fans interpreted it as Drake questioning Rocky's relevance and while implying Rihanna settled for him. Social media exploded almost instantly. Some users called the bars savage, others called them embarrassing and petty. And the reason people reacted so strongly is because Rihanna has barely acknowledged Drake publicly in years. She seems completely focused on her own life, her business empire, and her family. Meanwhile, Drake keeps revisiting the story in his music over and over again. That imbalance is exactly why people started accusing him of sounding obsessed. But Rihanna wasn't even the most shocking name fans caught inside the albums. Because nobody expected Drake to apparently target LeBron James, too. That's where things suddenly became personal in a different way. Drake and LeBron weren't just industry acquaintances. Their friendship was one of the most visible celebrity friendships in entertainment for years. Courtside appearances, Instagram support, public praise, they constantly showed love to each other publicly. So hearing Drake seemingly question LeBron's loyalty completely blindsided fans. One lyric especially caught attention because listeners immediately connected it to LeBron. Online theories exploded overnight. Some fans believe Drake secretly felt abandoned during the Kendrick Lamar battle because certain celebrities didn't publicly defend him the way he expected. And honestly, the timing adds fuel to that theory. During the Kendrick situation, a lot of major celebrities stayed unusually quiet. Some even appeared to subtly side with Kendrick through social media interactions and public appearances. Now, fans believe Drake kept track of all of that behind the scenes. That's what makes these albums feel different from a normal Drake release. The energy feels colder, more paranoid, less playful. Instead of sounding confident and untouchable, parts of the project sound like somebody keeping score against everyone around him. And according to fans, Kendrick Lamar is still living in Drake's head more than anybody else. Even though Kendrick isn't named directly in every track, listeners immediately picked up multiple references that seemed connected to their feud. And honestly, it's impossible to separate these albums from what happened between them last year. The Kendrick Battle wasn't just another rap beef, it became a cultural event. Not Like Us turned into something much bigger than music. It played at clubs, sporting events, parties, and practically every corner of the internet. The song followed Drake everywhere. For the first time in years, Drake looked vulnerable publicly, and fans think these new albums are his response to that humiliation. Throughout the project, Drake repeatedly references fake loyalty, industry manipulation, betrayal, and people secretly working against him. Some listeners interpreted the lyrics as Drake trying to rewrite the narrative around the Kendrick situation. Others think he still hasn't accepted how badly public opinion turned against him during the feud. That's why reactions to the albums became so divided online. Some fans praised Drake for sounding aggressive and hungry again. They said the pressure brought back his competitive side. But critics argued the exact opposite. They claimed the albums sound bloated, emotionally messy, and overloaded with bitterness. And honestly, 43 songs gave people plenty to criticize. Almost immediately, social media filled with jokes about the project's length. Some listeners accused Drake of flooding streaming platforms intentionally because more tracks means more streams. Others said the albums felt repetitive and emotionally exhausting. Even some longtime Drake fans admitted certain moments sounded more like venting sessions than calculated diss records. One criticism kept appearing everywhere: desperation. That word started following the release almost immediately. People began asking whether Drake dropped this much music because he genuinely felt inspired or because he was scared of losing relevance after the Kendrick Lamar fallout. The internet can be brutal, and suddenly every lyric was getting psychoanalyzed in real time. Reddit threads exploded with debates. TikTok creators broke down hidden meanings line by line. Twitter turned into a war zone between Drake fans and critics. Some users mocked specific bars as corny, while others insisted Drake was exposing fake friendships inside the industry. But here's the wild part. Even the people clowning Drake were still talking about Drake nonstop. And that may be exactly why this strategy worked. Because regardless of whether people loved the albums, hated the disses, mocked the lyrics, or defended him online until sunrise, everybody ended up doing the same thing in the end: talking about Drake.